Hi friends, look what I finished finally. I've been working on this weaving project for a couple weeks now, and I'm excited to show you guys the finished product and how to finish it off and to hang it up as a work of art that we can hang up for a decoration in our room or classroom or in the school. We're gonna put these on display for the Living Traditions so that everyone can see them, and then you can take them home. Anyway, so on mine, I purposely did a pattern, like after I got to the center where the dark blue was, then I repeated the pattern going backwards on the bottom half. But that's just how I want to do mine. But you guys can do yours however you want. If you want to do all different stripes and different colors, it's totally up to you if you want to do some kind of a pattern. Also, I bought some other kinds of yarn that are thicker and fuzzy, and you can try those too. But today I'm going to show you how to finish it off when you get to the very end and how to hang it up on a stick. We're going to have a stick on the top, and we're going to tie the ends together so that it'll be all finished and we can take it off the board and we can hang it up. So let's get to it. Okay friends, when you've done all the weaving that you want to do, maybe yours will be as long as this, maybe you'll be a little bit shorter, but whatever, when you get to the end and you're done and you're thinking, I'm ready to finish this. So the very last piece of yarn, when you get here, leave a little bit of yarn left over because you're going to have to tie this around your last warp thread. You're going to try this last weft thread around the warp thread over here. So I'm just going to turn it this way so I can do this better. So I'm going to take this last piece, leave it long enough that you can tie a knot. I'm going to loop it under, because it's going over right now. I'm going to loop it under this. Just going to leave like a little loop right here. See this? There's a loop. I'm going to pull this out, this end, and I'm going to stick it through that loop. So it's like the rabbit is going into the rabbit hole. Stick it in. Then pull it tight. And oh, that one didn't quite do it. So I would do this a couple times just to make sure you got a good knot on there. Like make a loop, stick this through so it makes a knot on there. And you just pull that tight and pull it really tight. And then that will be, it'll tie it off so it doesn't come undone. So anyway, you just tie a knot around this last warp thread. All right. Now I'm going to show you guys how to remove this from your loom. Okay, once you've got that last piece tied off, go and check these ends where maybe you've tied a knot on the ends. And if you had any long pieces hanging out, just trim those. Don't trim them super close because it might make the knot come undone. But I just went through and trimmed all these. I can see a little bit of a fuzzy end sticking right there. But I just trimmed those so it looks nice. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this piece of tape where I started this and turn this back over. And this the top of my weaving, I'm going to take off of these little loops, the knobs up here that it's on. Just take that, remove those. Kind of have to stretch them a little bit to get them off of there. Okay, so that is now off, and see how they have these loops up here? Well, the next thing I'm gonna do is I take this wooden stick. This is called a wooden dowel, and this one's a little bit longer than I'd probably use for you guys. This is just one I had that was on hand, and then you could just go get a stick off of a tree. That would be super cool, I think, to have like a natural branch, like a little branch sticking through here. You're gonna push it through these loops. Let's see, I want to make mine look, because we're gonna hang it on this stick. So this end is gonna go through these loops. See this? You're just pushing the stick through. But as you can see down here, I have this loose end and it doesn't have a loop on it because that's the piece that I started. So I'm just gonna tie this to the nearest loop. I'm gonna like tie it around, stick it through like a knot and pull it. And I'm gonna like make sure I get that. Like I'm gonna do it at least twice so that I have a good little knot there so it doesn't come undone. Just tying that off. Don't pull like too tight because it might bunch it up. But just make sure you have a good little tight knot right there. And then I think we can just trim that. And then you have all these are on the loop, so we're gonna be able to hang it up right there. Stick goes through the loops. Now on this end, we're gonna do the thing. We can take this off now because it's really loose. Just pull these off. Oh, I just remember I have a piece of tape back here. I gotta remove that. Okay. All right, so now it's off of the loom. And to finish off this other end where there's loops, I'm not gonna leave the loops here. I'm gonna tie this. So this is what you do. You cut these loops. You gotta be really careful on this part, because if you didn't tie these off, this whole entire thing could come undone, which after you did all that work, it would be so sad. So we're not gonna, that doesn't happen. So I'm gonna cut all those loops. So now they're little fringes down there. And what we're gonna do is tie two of these together. Like you take two, this is your long piece. You take two of these and tie them, double tie them in little knots. So this is gonna seal it off so it won't come undone. 1, 2, so you got a knot there. And I'm gonna trim this to be even because I'm gonna leave these little fringes on there. It looks like the edge of a rug or a scarf or something. But you just take two of these strings and tie them together like you're tying your shoes. 1. Make sure you tie a knot. Pull it so that it seals it off so the stitches won't come undone. Okay, you just do that with all of these little leftovers. If you have longer ends than I do, it will obviously be easier to tie. Mine's kind of short, but I'm still doing it. Every 2 you tie together. Okay, when you get to this end over here, you have 3 strings left because we had an odd number. So you can't, instead of having 2 to tie, you're gonna have to tie 3. So I'm just gonna loop, these 2 are gonna be 1. I'm gonna pretend like these 2 are 1 string, and I'm gonna tie them to this one. So 2 together and tie them to the 3rd one. And it's gonna be fine. All right, so there's your little end that's all cute and fringy. And there's your top. So the last thing we have to do is just put a little string on here to hang it from. Like I said, this stick is probably too long. You could probably use a shorter one and probably look better, but we'll just use this one for now. Okay, I'm gonna tie my string on and then it will almost be ready to hang up. Just get a string of the color of your choice, and you can tie it on each end of this stick. One thing I like to do to make a tight loop on a stick like that is you can hold this, loop it around your thumb, like go around your thumb, and then stick a loop through this, like right there, and you pull this. And it makes what's called a slip knot. It means you can move it and tighten it. So this little loop, stick it on here. And if you pull both of these strings, it will tighten. See that? Then it's really tight. And then your other strings won't come off. And then you're gonna do that on the other end. As long as you decide how long you want your hanging string to be. I'm gonna cut mine a little bit shorter. Remember I held this string, but I went around my thumb, and then I stuck a loop. I just stuck it through that hole, see? And that makes that little loop. And then stick that on there. And then you pull both strings, you pull it really tight, and you can trim this. Trim that. And guess what? You have a lovely little hanging woven art project. It looks great. Okay, I'm gonna hang it up and that'll be it. Okay friends, here it is, the finished product. I think it turned out awesome. It took a long time. It's a skill that takes a lot of patience and perseverance. That means we have to work hard at it and keep trying. And when we're done, we'll be so proud of ourselves for accomplishing this. Weaving is a great, and very valuable skill. You can use it throughout your life. You can weave lots of pretty things. And it's useful in many, many ways to be able to know how to weave. So I'm glad you guys had the opportunity to learn how to weave. I hope you had fun and that you can remember these skills throughout your life. And we'll see you all again next time. Happy weaving!